Hello, Jamey.
Hey, Mitchell.
Hey, this is episode 27 of Positively Board Gaming, that wonderful podcast people have been telling me about. I figured I'd finally listen to it, and it's wonderful. I'm listening to us right now as we do it. I am Mitchell Whitfield. This is my co-host, Jamey Stegmeyer, the founder of Stonemeyer Games and so many other things. You're a man. You wear a lot of hats. You know that? You really
I wear a
do.
lot of hats, and yet I never wear hats. Yeah. Do
Oh,
you ever
wow.
wear a hat?
Yeah, I do. You know what? As I'm getting older, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't have your hair. I don't know if you've noticed that. So as I get older and you try to protect yourself from the sun, which, I've been wearing more hats because I don't
Yeah.
have my hair to protect me from the sun anymore on top of my head. So yeah, I do wear hats occasionally. They're usually New York Rangers hats, occasionally New
Okay.
York Mets, but yeah, it's always the
Uh-huh.
same type of thing. But yeah, but you do, you metaphorically speaking, and I mean, you do wear many hats. You do a lot of things,
I do, and
addition.
one of the
Yeah.
joys that I've added is this podcast, which is
I'm so
delightful
glad
to
you
do.
had the time.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about it years ago?
We
Like
talked about it for
someday
a
maybe
long
we'll,
time.
and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, if we ever have time, it'd be great. Because as I've always said, you have a busier schedule than I do. I was like, we're really going to do this, huh? We're really going to do this. And so we thank you for allowing us to really do this because we couldn't
Yeah.
do this without all of you listening on podcast form and of course watching on the Stonemeyer Games channel. We appreciate you and we get a lot of great ideas from you, including, I think, some of the stuff we're going to be talking about today. But how's your week been so far? It's pretty good.
Week's been pretty good. I got
Okay.
well, actually, the one so we might talk about physical ailments for a little bit
No,
today.
go for it. Yeah.
I got the COVID booster and the flu shot, and
Ooh,
I'm very fortunate. My body responds really well to vaccinations. I don't
yeah.
get, other than like a little bit of soreness where the shot goes in. I'm not bothered by it afterward. My body just deals with it well. Sometimes people feel a little ill for a couple
Right.
hours
I
in the
got
day.
you. Yeah.
But my shoulder was so sore that I slept intentionally on my right side, and in doing so,
Oh, God.
I pulled something in my neck, and so I am trying to make up for that. And one of the things of getting old, where
It's not funny, but
yeah.
I feel, quite literally feel your pain. I get it. And in order to avoid one thing, it truly is
Exactly.
the domino effect in
Yeah.
full force here. You
Yeah.
do one thing, I was like, oh, and your body sort of adjusts. And yeah, no, honestly, so you got a really sore arm. My brother's girlfriend, Nicole, she got the shot yesterday
Okay.
and it hit her pretty hard. And she's
Yeah.
young, and I don't know if she's had that kind of reaction to it before. So this particular COVID and flu, and getting them both, by the way, is can be a little bit of an assault on your system. I get that, but you want to
Yeah.
get it over with. So I get doing them together. I do that also. So
Yeah.
it does hit pretty hard. But yeah, this one might be hitting hard, but hopefully that means it'll offer great protection. So we can only hope for
I
the
hope
best,
so.
right? That's funny that you mentioned that. You're sort of
Yeah.
giving me a segue into why
There-
say segue
health
when I can say
related?
segue?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? This is my like before we start thing, and I was thinking about it because we try. If you've listened to us before, watched us before, I think we've kind of talked about it on different episodes, but we try not to talk about too much before we start the show, actually start the show, because it could be a before we start on the show. And I'm always like, save it for the show, Jamey. That's a great story. That's highly unattractive about me. Let's talk about it. So we always, we try not to, but we talked a little bit about, I had some tests done this week, nothing major, just going back for some wellness checkups. And this particular test was an MRI, kind of MRI I've never had before, and it was done at the hospital. And it got me thinking, how many people, we talk about how we've evolved and, maybe not evolved so much because we're still dealing with a lot of the same issues that this country and the world was dealing with, dozens, hundreds of years ago. But we've evolved in many ways. But one thing, Jamey, that hasn't changed, and that's what I talked to you before we started, is I don't like going to the doctor. Going to the doctor sucks. It's uncomfortable. It's like, and yes, because you're normally poked and prodded in places you rather not be poked and prodded. It's just like part of the gig. It is what happens. But I do encourage you, even if it's a wellness checkup, if you have insurance, if you don't have insurance, I know there are a lot of different clinics that will offer wellness checkups every year, every other year, depending on who you go to. And it's just do it. Not to sound like a Nike commercial or be a bummer, but there are so many things that can easily be avoided by a simple check. I mean, just having blood work done. It's amazing. As every vampire movie has told you, there are amazing things you can find in the human blood. And it's true. It's not just for Dracula anymore, but they can check your organs, your body. I mean, it's incredible. So if you have any doubt, and I know things that are specific to men and women, breast exams for women. They don't like to go. I understand it's uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And, things for men, colonoscopies for both. I mean, I get it. It's not fun and it's not the greatest thing and it's not great board game talk conversation. But in terms of like overall health, just do it. I have a lot of people in my life that have gone and found things or have not gone and wish they had. It's just an easy thing you could do for yourself, and it's just amazing what they can find and how science has sort of advanced in that way. But yeah, just go get yourself checked up and listen to your body. That's the other thing. You know your body better than anyone else. If something feels off, trust yourself, get it checked out. So that's all I was thinking about, because I know even my dad is like, I've never had a colonoscopy. He's 86 years old. I'm like, wow,
Oh, really?
God bless you, dude.
Wow.
And I'm sure he's not going to start now. I mean, but these are the things again that a lot of people are like, oh, that's hair. I don't want to do that. Do it. Most insurances cover this stuff, and it's a good way that you can be around for the people board gaming for years to come, the people that love you and want you to look out for yourself. Here we go. I'm getting off of hold on. That was me hopping off of my soapbox. So, that was my before we start. Did you have aside from you causing your own crick in your neck, do you have any other before we start?
Well, kind of my treat of the day is that there's an annual thing in St. Louis, and I think a few areas do this, but there's a big hot air balloon race in St. Louis every year in the early fall. It happens. It's happening this weekend, and it's for most people in St. Louis. It's just something that where you look up at the sky and you see these balloons in the sky on hopefully what is a beautiful September day, and it's beautiful to see. But the night before, they do something called the balloon glow, where all the balloons are spread out in this big field where they'll eventually take off from. And in the evening of tonight, you can just walk through and they'll light them up from time to time. Like there's no big moment. It's just every now and then a balloon will light itself up. And there's food vendors and a lot of people and families and things. So we're gonna go over there tonight, and I've done it maybe 2 or 3 times since I've been in St. Louis, and it's just like a nice way to spend an hour or two strolling through these big balloons. Yeah. Have you ever done anything like that?
You know what? I have a New York equivalent of that, Jamey.
Yeah.
So there's the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade where they have all the floats, and again, floats and balloons. There's a little symbiotic relationship there, but not symbiotic, but they're similar. Yeah. And the fun thing that we used to do back in the day, because as most New Yorkers will tell you, you don't want to be anywhere near Times Square on New Year's Eve. You don't want to be anywhere on the West Side coming down Times Square when they're having the parades. You try and stay, but the New Yorkers do like to go the night before when they're setting up the floats. And that was sort of like a fun thing to do the night before. Then that's what I was thinking of kind of when you were talking about this, like a sneak peek and the beautiful, and they have everything lit up because they're doing last minute touches to the floats and everything. And it was really cool. So I remember that experience in New York, just going once or twice to watch them prepare the floats for the parade and then getting the heck out of there. Cause again, you don't want to be on the streets during a parade, and any parade in New York, it's crazy time. So I think that's beautiful. And there's something beautiful about it too. I mean, yours more specifically, just because the hot air balloons and, the glow, it's sort of magical almost, It
really is. It really is. Yeah.
I like that. I like that too. I guess quick treat of the day. Yeah. My wife got a recipe from her sister. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, sister. For these egg bites that she makes for like a morning treat, little morning protein pick me up. And they had egg whites in them, sun-dried tomato, feta cheese. I mean, amazing. It's like, like half this, like a cupcake sort of hot, the bottom half of a cupcake cut in half. Right.
Yeah.
And just really delicious and satisfying and filling. And I loved it. That's I normally don't talk about savory treats, do I? Always, we always talk about sweet treats, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. Jamey, awesome. I'm gonna let you take over the show now, because this was something we've done before, and you said we're bringing it back. What are we bringing back to the peoples?
So this is part 2 of Stuff We Love. We briefly mentioned it on last week's livecast or podcast, and we did one previously. This is something on the Stonemaier Games website where me and my coworkers every now and then will update a page of our website. I'll link to it in the description below, where we just share stuff that we love, games that we love, that we're loving right now, food that we're loving right now, music. It's just all sorts of categories. Depending, we love different things. And I had a good time the last time that Mitchell and I got to do this. I asked Mitchell if he wanted to do it again. And I think it's a good thing that we can do from time to time to share a bunch of things that we're loving. And I will say, we got some great ideas in the comments.
Yes, we did.
Some of them, I think, for me, might be future topics. We'll see if we end up overlapping, Mitchell.
Okay.
But the restriction for me, and Mitchell might take a different approach to it, but I specifically, when I think about stuff we love, I'm thinking about stuff I'm loving like right now or very
Yes.
recently. Like someone brought up a beautiful idea of talking about a teacher that we once loved.
I saw that
I
too.
love that idea. Maybe that'll come up in the future somehow. But it's a slightly different because I'm unless I'm like really actively thinking of a certain teacher right now.
Right. I
That's
get
not
it.
something that I'm experiencing right now. So let's jump in. You did food already, so
Yeah,
why
I
don't we
did.
start with, and we'll go back and forth. We'll pick a topic and we'll both share maybe the thing that we love about that if we both have one.
You got it.
Let's start with games. We are a gaming podcast, and so
Yes, we
let's
are.
talk about a newer game that we're loving right now. Why don't we start off there? Do you have one on your mind for that, Mitchell?
Okay, I just, it's funny. I just received it. I've been looking forward to it, and we're supposed to play tonight, so I'll let you know.
Yeah.
The new version of 20 Strong came out.
Oh, yeah.
20 Strong Tanglewoods, which is sort of bringing in like the Fables, Goldilocks, Red Riding Hood, like sort of like darker fantasy versions of those. And beautiful new cards, new decks, new dice. And also they put out this, I won't go get it over there. They have a storage solution now, so you can travel with it more safely with a beautiful box, not cardboard, like material with a magnetic clasp. I know you like magnetic clasps also. Yeah. So you can travel with several decks, and then they even make a larger one that I ordered afterwards, realizing I should have done it when the Kickstarter was happening. So yes, this 20 Strong is on my mind. This is something I recommended that you try as well.
Yeah.
And I don't do a lot of solitaire gaming, but I'd like to start. And this is sort of the impetus for that part of it. But also, when you don't have a lot of people, if your game group's not meeting and you're getting a hankering to play something, and in Stonemaier Games, it's one of the mantras that you have, you want all of them to have solo play, which I think is fabulous. So it's gotten me into it. Between you talking about it and me loving 20 Strong so much, solo gaming is definitely becoming more of the thing for me.
I'm really curious after you play that one, if you find that one of the characters is a great like introductory or starting character for someone like me who hasn't played 20 Strong before.
I got you.
That's one that I'm definitely interested in trying.
Okay. I would say Solar Sentinels from the first game.
Okay.
Out of the three, the one I stuck with, that's what I keep playing. That's a good introductory point. And I'll let you know. I think I have to start with Red Riding Hood because I think this is the first deck. So that's probably what I'll start with. I'll try them all, and I'll have a report for you for next things we love.
Sounds good, Mitchell. My pick for this a new game that I just got from Kickstarter is a game called Apistocracy. That is about working your way up the social ladder in Victorian England.
Ooh.
A theme that I normally wouldn't necessarily maybe jump at, but I'm really, really glad I got this game because I had a delightful time in the first play of it. And a lot of it was due to the card play. There's a standard deck of cards kind of spread throughout the game. Some of them are your starting hand, some are in a deck, some are in a more difficult deck to get, like the face cards in the deck are more difficult to get.
Okay.
And you're using these cards for worker placement. So they're like the resources in the game. If I want to go to a certain spot, I need to play a spade to go to that spot.
Oh, wow.
And
okay. Yeah.
You're playing the card in a deck building kind of way. So you're not permanently getting rid of the card. You're discarding it and it can get back in your hand later in the game. And as you're adding new cards to this very small deck, it's not a big deck that you're building. At the end of the game, after you play 4 rounds, it's pretty snappy. You've climbed your way up the social ladder in Victorian England. At the end of the game, you play the game Whist, which was apparently very popular in Victorian England. It's a very basic trick-taking game with all these cards that you've gained during the game. These playing cards that you've gained for a different purpose. You then get to play like a hand of Whist, and it is meaningful in the game. You're going to score some points for that for end game scoring. The whole way that came together and just the whole look and the vibe of the game, it really delighted me, and I've been thinking about it ever since. I can't wait to play again.
I love that. Let me ask you something really quickly. So do you find that you would, now you say like at the end, playing that game with the cards that you've actually curated as part of your deck.
Yeah.
The scoring for that game is only part of the final scoring of the game, correct?
It's maybe a fourth of the score. Maybe, a little less than a fourth.
So that's really interesting because I was thinking, are you curating that your cards based on knowing at the end I'm going to get to play these, but you can't go too heavy into that because it's only worth a quarter of the point. So you have to sort of find that balance, right? You don't want to go too heavy into purposely crafting a deck for the end game because it's only a quarter of the score. That's cool.
It was really, really neat.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's Apistocracy is my favorite new game.
That is great.
Mitchell, why don't you throw a category out there? Something you love right
now. Let's talk about TV shows that we're watching right now, Jamey. And this is kind of bizarre. I I get sucked into Cult of the New like everyone else does, and it's not just for games, it's for TV, it's for movies, so I've watched my fair share of, recent stuff, but I definitely don't have a recency bias when it comes to television. Because as I've told you, I'm always watching Grimm and Fringe on an endless loop. And I started watching Big Bang Theory, which is another one of my very favorite shows. It's so smart. And it's one of the few shows I've ever seen, by the way, where the scripts were consistently good over the 12 seasons. It was just great. But I heard about the show Supernatural. And again, I know it was I think it was on for 18 seasons, something crazy, like 18 seasons, a long time. And I started watching and I was like, okay, it's cool. It deals with supernatural, some of the tropes I've seen in other shows, but I'm kind of getting sucked into it now, which is like sort of a dangerous thing because I know there are 18 seasons. I know there's a lot of content for me. And at 61, I don't know how many watch throughs of that I have in me because there are 18 seasons of it, but I've actually been enjoying it. I'm just, there are only 2 series regulars, the 2 brothers, as of right now. And did you ever see the show? Have you ever watched Supernatural?
I haven't. Megan has. And really
okay. Yeah. So, and it's one of the few shows that I've seen. Back in the 70s, there were a lot of shows that had like a single series regular, like Mannix and Columbo and those kind of shows. Or actually, Mannix had more than one, but Columbo was one. So I was very intrigued by 2 series regulars carrying the show, different stories every week, supernatural things they investigate and how they're sort of tied into it in some way. Again, I'm about a little more than halfway through the first season, and I've been enjoying it. I think it's going to fall under guilty pleasure. It's going to fall under guilty pleasure. I can feel that because I know it's a little different. What about you? What about in the TV world? What are you watching? What are you obsessed with right now?
Well, we're in the period where we just finished a few shows and we're looking for the next show. But a few of the shows that we just finished, I really enjoyed. And one of them, I'll tie this one to you because you're in California. It features the former governor of California as one of the actors in the show. It's a show called FUBAR on Netflix that has Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Okay. I have not watched it. Okay.
I think it only has 2 seasons. Unfortunately, I think it has been canceled by Netflix, even though they just finished a season that I thought was incredibly entertaining. But it's kind of an action show. A father who's been in the CIA for a long time, and his daughter ends up being in the CIA. They're kind of spies for the U.S. and doing action spy type stuff. And by the second season, those 2 characters are very entertaining. But also, it's the time in the show where all the supporting cast are really starting to shine. They get their moments. They're very funny. I think it's really well scripted. So FUBAR, I was delighted by it. It's kind of like popcorn TV, but done really, really well, in my opinion.
See, I love that. Again, I shouldn't say guilty pleasure because, the heart wants what the heart wants, Jamie. And when it comes to entertainment, again, especially when the real world has so many challenges to offer, and I will just leave it at that, regardless of what side of whatever spectrum you're on, it doesn't even matter. There's a lot of disappointment going on in the world right now. So just having that comfort food, whether it's in the form of, things we eat, games we play, things we consume digitally, television, films, I'm a big believer in that. So I never judge what people are watching, whether it's sometimes I tease my wife about reality TV. Every time she's watching Big Brother, I go in there and I was like, feel like I've lost 3 brain cells just being in the room. And then I sit down and watch, and then I start asking questions and she gets angry at me. She goes, you can't say you. I was like, well, now I'm interested. I take back what I said. So, and again, the things we derive pleasure from that give us joy. And sometimes it's just good to, just be there and have a laugh and enjoy the characters and not feel like everything has to be super important. So it sounds like a show I'd really like right now too.
Cool. Yeah. I'll throw one out there. In fact, let's give a little love to another podcast. A podcast. This is the podcast audiobook category. It could be either one.
Okay.
And this is I'll do real quick. I'll do a gaming podcast and a non-gaming podcast. A gaming podcast I really enjoy is called Lens and Veil from Garp Hill Games. They're known for like Raiders of the North Sea, Architects of the West Kingdom. That series. A lot of great games. Sam and Shem. They're incredibly talented designers, and I also really like the way they talk about games. They've had this podcast, I think, for less than a year, but they talk about a variety of games.
What's it called again, Jamie?
Lens and Veil, like VEIL.
Yeah. Okay, I'm writing that down.
And then my non-gaming podcast, I'm very new to this one, and I don't know the name of the 2 people on it, but it's 2 stand-up comedians who are currently dating. They've been together for a couple years.
Okay.
I'm blanking on their names, but it's called Pretend Problems. And every episode is just an hour.
Intrigued,
So it's these 2 very, very funny people who sometimes they talk about relationship problems, but the pretend part is that they make it clear that they're not actually angry at each other. They're just talking about like the fun types of things that we encounter in relationships that maybe have a little bit of tension, but it's kind of fun tension.
Oh,
and they're just very funny. So Pretend Problems is a podcast I'm really enjoying between these two comedians.
I love that. That is awesome.
Yeah. So what about you? Do you have any podcast or audio in the audio category?
In the audio category,
if not, it's okay. You can throw another category.
No. It's okay. I've mostly been watching YouTube creators. I've mostly been watching more YouTube than
YouTube.
podcast.
Yeah, 'cause I have that category too. Yep.
Okay, so I'll throw in YouTube.
Yeah.
Although on the podcast there is a retro video game podcast. I'm also into retro. My hobbies are endless, Jamie, and sad. I'm into handheld consoles that emulate, old school games, Nintendo, Super NES, Dreamcast, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there was this sort of amalgamation of multiple YouTubers that put together a podcast. One of them was Retro Game Core. I think one of them was Gamer Dad. There are about 4 or 5 of them. And I sort of enjoy watching it because I like hearing the different points of view about just the retro games in general, how they approach the hobby, the handhelds they enjoy, because I collect these things. So I've been listening to that a little bit. But on the YouTube side, I've been watching a creator called Cape Crawlers, which is, again, another one of my hobbies is RC vehicles, radio control vehicles, and specifically crawlers, which are like 4-wheel drive trucks and vehicles and pickups that are designed to do these courses. They have competitions all over the world, which are basically crawling courses, very slow and specific, going up steep hills and navigating rugged terrain. So while most RC is like racing and going fast, this is the antithesis of that. These are people going ridiculously slow, trying to find the right angle, get hooked on one tire that'll pull the truck up. Really, really cool. And Cape Crawlers has this channel where he talks about different vehicles, and he does a lot of stuff with his young son, which is really cool. As a dad, I really appreciate that. So yeah, that's what I've been watching lately on the YouTube's side. And of course us. I like watching after you post them and go, man, those guys are good. They are just good. Easy on the eyes, great content. Please stop me in the comments below. Feel free to say whatever you want. It's totally cool. But no, yeah, so that's what I've been watching.
Do you actually? I genuinely, I have a really hard time watching or listening to myself. I do. I know you probably had to do it. You've had to study yourself as an actor or something.
No,
do you ever?
I avoid it like the plague. No, I'll see when I went to see when I'd go to see back when I was doing more movies and stuff, and I go into the theater. I have to go to the premiere, and I'd see myself like, oh, look at the 50-foot head of mine. What was I thinking? Oh God, who did that? And all I could think about is like the other takes that were better. So it's hard. I find it hard to watch myself. This podcast, for some reason, I'll sit back and be like, yeah, I remember that was great. That was funny. Oh, look at Jamie. He's great. And I just genuinely, it brings me joy to watch it. And again, it's not from a, self-love sort of like, oh my God, I'm so good. Look, Jamie's so good. I just get joy out of watching us talk about this stuff. I enjoy doing it. Then I enjoy having done it and watching it. So although I don't like watching my regular work in film and television, I have no problem sitting at the computer, pulling up my iPad and just watching our little podcast together. It brings me joy. Those are funny guys. I don't know what to tell you. They're just funny.
Well, I'll throw out a YouTube too, because I like this category. This is new to my list because I do watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. And 2 that are pretty new to me are Hank Green. Does that name ring a bell? He is a science YouTuber.
Okay.
His brother is John Green, who is an author. He wrote the book The Fault in Our Stars, some other famous book, Turtles All the Way Down. He's a fairly prolific YA author who also has been a YouTuber for a long time. Hank Green is also a very successful YouTuber, millions of subscribers, and I've never followed his stuff, but I like the way that he thinks and the way he describes complex things in a very accessible manner.
That's great.
And so I've just really enjoyed his YouTube channels. And then the other one is that and we'll segue this one into sports a little bit, maybe sports that we're enjoying right now. There is 6 times a year in Japan, there's a sumo wrestling tournament. And there's a YouTube channel called Don Don Sumo that shows the top 10 bouts from the previous day. Like every tournament is 15 days of matchups. And I'm really enjoying my morning 10 minutes of Don Don Sumo.
And please, by the way, if you're a sumo fan, I'm not laughing at the sport. Believe me, I'm laughing because if you've never seen sumo, and again, if you've ever been to Japan, and watch sumo there and see how revered these athletes are and how the sport is consumed there. You have to have a huge amount of respect for the people there. I mean, it's incredible. It's just, if you've never seen it, to the uninitiated, if you're just used to watching American sports or wherever country you're listening in, it's unusual. It's an unusual thing to see for the first time and wrap your head around it. These gigantic men wearing very little, and then meeting like two bulls in them. I mean, it's incredible. And then as you start to watch and you start to learn a little bit, then it's like, oh no, that's a bad angle. He's gonna get lost. He has bad footing, and he's gonna flip him up. And then you start getting into it and like critiquing it as if you have any right to. I'm talking about me. And it's a really incredible sport. But again, it's just, if you've never seen it, it could be sort of like, oh wow, this is very unusual visually. I don't know what I'm looking at. And then as you watch, you sort of get, and there's also a very, there's almost like a Zen sort of part of it as well. There's a lot to it. So I encourage you, yes, please watch and check it out. It's something different. And it's a different perspective on sports from a different place in the world, which I think is really cool.
And I honestly, I think this Don Sumo channel, it's DON Sumo, is a good place to start for exactly what you just described, because they show the bouts, which are usually very fast, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
They're over quickly. Yeah.
And then they show like a slow motion version of the bout where they, a lot of like arrows on the screen pointing to what they're doing and how they're doing it. And so very quickly you can be like, oh, wow, I see how much they are doing in this 10 seconds is incredible. Do you have a sport that you were excited about or following right now? Was that on your list?
Oh, Jamey. Oh, dear young Jamey. I'm still writing Dun. I'm making my list as you're talking to me. I'm like, oh, I've got to do this. I got to watch this. So, last year was not a good year for my beloved New York Rangers. The year before, they won the President's Trophy, best record in the league, made it to the conference finals that year. I believe they did. And then last year, where they were one of the favorites to win the cup, didn't make the playoffs. Just goes to show you never know. It was not a fun year. And it's the first time in a long time they hadn't made the playoffs. And the reason I bring that up is not because I'm a disgruntled fan. It was disappointing, but you got so spoiled by having hockey. Hockey is the longest season out of all the major sports, because with the playoffs, it pretty much lasts for like 9 months out of the year. If you make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, there are only really 3 months of off season before training camp really starts up. So having them not make the playoffs extended that waiting period for me by like over 5 months. So my son Ryan and I were like, I can't believe it's been like, it feels like it's been a year since we watched hockey, which is just unacceptable. So Jamey, we are recording this podcast episode that I mentioned. It was 27. I don't think I did. It's episode 27, folks. And they said it wouldn't last. We were recording this on a Friday. This Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific, first preseason game, New York Rangers, New Jersey Devils. I'm so excited. And the Rangers, this is their 100th anniversary. They have a commemorative jersey, which my wife just ordered for me as part of my birthday. She gave me an IOU for when the jersey came out for my birthday a couple of weeks ago. Now it's finally released, and it's a throwback to it's beautiful. The old school, like baby blue Ranger jerseys with the white lettering and the commemorative 100-year patch. I'm so excited. So yes,
vintage look. Yeah.
Hockey is coming back. I'm looking forward to going to New York and catching a game with my family. So yes, that is what has me going. That's awesome.
Are there any, I know that's at the top of your list. Are there any other of the teams that you follow that are currently competing?
Yeah.
Mets. Are the Mets, do they
the Mets? No, they're not in the playoffs. They're doing everything they can to not make it, but they've won. It's so funny. The Mets were at one point, they had like the best record in the league early in the season, and they just went on this losing streak. They've had some issues with the bullpen this year with holding leads. So I think they're still technically in one of the final playoff spots. I know St. Louis has been hovering lately. They've been like a few games out. Right now, they're a few games out, believe it or not.
St. Louis is?
Oh, yeah, because the Mets have like just started dropping games.
Really?
And St. Louis, yes. So St. Louis, I think,
is really bad.
Well, you can imagine how the Mets have fallen. So yes, technically they are still in the playoffs. And my buddy Jack was part of our gamer group. I believe. Remember, I told you the story about him with Destinies, where he took that horse for me, and I needed that darn horse. So I think as his penance when the Mets are in the playoffs, and I think this year if they do make it, they will probably be playing the Dodgers. He said we'll be going on in October if that matchup actually happens. I'm not 100% convinced it will, because it's New York and they have a way of disappointing fans sometimes. But hey, I'm hopeful. So the Mets are still, the Jets are 0-2, and let's not talk about that. It's a hot mess. It's just a hot mess.
Yeah. Well, for me, I am not as connected to specific teams, but I love soccer. I love football and elsewhere across the world. I think of it as soccer, but I enjoy following Major League Soccer here in the U.S., especially since there are some very famous players like Messi and Son, a Korean player who have come over, amazing players who have come over and now playing in the U.S.
That's great.
But I also love following Premier League and Champions League. Champions League had a week this week. They had a ton of games this week. So I've just had a blast following I don't watch the full games, but I watch like the highlight reels of these.
Do you watch them on YouTube, or do you watch them? Because that's an incredible thing. That's sort of, again, if you can, if old Mitchell, like, in the past, Mitchell knew this was coming, I would have done something to make it happen quicker. The fact, like, especially if you miss a game, and I'll watch the whole game if I can live. If I can't, if it's hockey, I'll watch the whole game. But certain sports, it's like, okay, I don't mind. Give me like the 20-minute where they show everything. Because and especially with games like, with American football, you realize how much downtime there is, where they could play the whole game pretty much in 25 minutes. And again, that's how much downtime there is between downs. So isn't that a great way to just watch and catch up if you just want to get back in and see what happened, see the, the highlights or like a lot of the actual plays. That's a really cool way to do it.
And I'm glad you highlighted it that way too, because highlights really have evolved a lot over the years, where even just maybe 5 or 10 years ago, a soccer game highlight would be maybe 90 seconds. Like they'd show a goal. But now it's probably 10 to 15 minutes, which might even be like you can skip through it if you want, but it really does show a significant portion of the action, and not just the goals, but like the best attempts on the goal, the best saves, like defensive plays, great strings of passes. I like that. And it's not just soccer, but that's what I'm following. So I really like following those.
And it gives you, I think, having the longer replays like you're talking about, where it's not just like the goals and like 30, 90 seconds of highlights. It gives you a sense of the rhythm of the game, because you'll see a score, and the score can sometimes be deceiving. It's like, haven't you seen your teams just do play amazingly well and get beaten in the weirdest ways? So, the score is not always indicative of how the flow is what I was looking for, the flow of the game. And having the longer highlights, it shows you some of the tension, some of the flow, some of the back and forth that had nothing to do with the scoring, but plays into like building the story for when a goal happens, for when a touchdown happens, for when a home run happens. So it's nice to have, it gives you more insight into what you missed by having that longer piece to pull from. So I for one love the longer replays, or basically game summaries, or in the case of football, an entire game in 25 minutes without the downtime, which is super weird. Yeah.
So Mitchell, we're almost out of time today. Is there any category that we haven't hit that you were really hoping that we would cover?
Jamie, you didn't ask me what book I'm reading, because usually I'm not. Would you like to ask me?
Last week you said you were going to think about reading a book. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but you put yourself on the spot. Mitchell, what book are you loving right now?
I'm not comfortable saying what it is, but it rhymes with Mistborn.
Okay.
Do I need to give more of a clue? I started. I finally started. And man, it does not take long to suck you in.
Oh, good.
His writing style, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And again, we talk about expectations and surprises. I didn't really have anything to base it on. Because I've never read any of his work before. I think I maybe started one other book briefly, and then I got distracted. I'm going to go back to that as well, that series as well. We'll talk about that another time. But his style of writing, sometimes if you read an author that gives incredible detail, it's to the detriment of the flow of the story. We're getting so much detail. It's like, okay, I get the detail. I know you're a sucker for detail, but I'm still missing, like the story isn't washing over me. How he is able to give that detail, yet the story is so strong and the atmosphere is so rich. Partially because of that detail and just part of this world that he's created so far. I'm really intrigued. You're smiling because you love, you love the series and many others, but Mistborn is definitely sucking me in. I'm happy that even now I'm happy there are 2 more I get to go to after this one, but this could be what gets me back into reading, because my wife is a voracious reader. She reads books so fast. She'll start this book, 500-page book, and 2 days later she goes, I'm almost done. I'm like, what? Stop reading. I don't want you getting that much smarter than me. Just a little smarter than me is just fine. No, but she's, she loves to read, and she just devours these books so quickly. And I kind of get it now, because it's so easy just to sit there and, I don't want to put it down because I have to see where this goes. And it's this rich sort of tapestry. is
Mhm.
being
Oh,
built,
mhm.
and I want to see all the things that are going to come out of this. It's like laying right now. He's laying out the groundwork for the story, and I
Right.
love that. I love that form of storytelling where we're not getting too deep into the story yet. I just want to show you all the pieces that are in play. I want to show
Yeah.
you the political climate. I want to
Mhm.
show you where it takes place. I want to show you who the people are that are involved, and then we'll start to weave the web. And I just think that's such a great way of storytelling. And I guess I didn't expect that. I don't know what I
Mhm.
expected, but I'm in. I'm all in. So yes, I finally started Mistborn, and I don't have to shy away from the question anymore.
I'm so glad you give it a try. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I hope you continue to enjoy that. And
I
I
will.
totally agree. Brandon Sanderson, I think, is a great writer for
Oh,
exactly the reasons that you described there, and really in an accessible way. Like he's, I would say, a great writer who is also accessible. Like the writing doesn't. I don't know. I've seen great writers whose words I struggle to read, and his
right.
words just kind of flow into the next. One chapter flows into the next. Yeah, they're page turners that are well written.
A great storyteller, and he's
Yeah.
kind of there's a similarity with you and what you do. You create these incredible worlds. You're so good at what you do, but you have an accessibility about you. You're appreciative. You appreciate the people that consume what you create. And I
Hmm.
think he's very similar. I think even in his forward, just talking about, being appreciative of the people that inspired him, the people that
Yeah.
helped him, the people that proofread everything, the people that helped in the world building, the beautiful maps in the beginning of the book that I spent the first 15 minutes. I didn't just turn and look at I'm doing it digitally on my iPad actually. And now I want the
Mhm.
hardcover because I want the physical book. But even just looking at the maps, I was like, so much went into creating this world. I'm not
Yeah.
just going to turn the page because I started looking where everything was, and it does give you, first of all, some insight into the world. It gives you some reference to what's happening in terms of just the geography and the political landscape. But I think there is some, and again, the way that he shows appreciation and respect for the reader and the people that have helped him, and I find you're the same way when you put
Mhm.
out a game and you're respectful and appreciative of the people that consume and help. So I was thinking of you a little bit when I was reading it, but yeah, man, maybe I'll start playing some Stonemaier games. I don't know why I've held off all these years.
Yeah, give them a try.
I might
Yeah.
like one. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know me, Jamey. You don't know me. Are we really out of time? Does it really go that? Oh my God, it really was fast. Went
Well, and
fast.
I'll give a quick shout out to a book too, because as much as I
Yes.
love Brandon Sanderson, I have
Yes,
read
please
everything
do.
he's written. So the book that I'm reading right now, I'm reading a duology by Rebecca Ross called
Okay.
Divine Rivals.
Okay.
Um, and set. It's essentially a historical fiction book with a magical twist to it, set in the time. It's not a real time, but I guess it feels like a World War II or World War One book, maybe, where
Okay.
two journalists are corresponding via two magical typewriters. So they're able to span great distances, but still read what each
Oh
other are
wow.
writing. These two people are falling in love, and there's a greater magical element to the world. But the book is essentially, not that I usually just don't read historical fiction. I usually love fantasy and sci-fi, but the book has essentially tricked me into reading a great historical fiction book, and I enjoy the little magical elements that come up from time to time. So,
I
Divine
love that.
Rivals, I'm like halfway through book two. I'm really racing through it. It's a real. I'm just really
How
enjoying
many
this book
books
so
are there in
far.
the series?
Just two, just
Okay,
two.
just two. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. And that sounds like something that would
Yeah.
appeal to me too. It's a
I
little
think
bit of
it might
adding
be
the
a
magic to the
TV show or
history.
movie. Yeah, Magic History. Yeah, yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
do you remember in Fringe? There are magical typewriters in that too. I'm not gonna blow anything, but yeah,
Oh,
there
I did forget
so
about that. And
yeah, the connecting of the two.
oh, do they
That's
connect across the worlds?
yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that was
I won't give any
subconsciously
more because I don't want to give
somewhere.
it away.
Okay,
Yeah, but
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, that's what I thought. It was like, oh, it was an awesome sort of thing at that time. But the way
yeah,
you're describing it in the book is even better
mm,
because especially, I love the communication thing with the
yeah,
two people. And again, and it's a love story too.
yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Well, wow. I feel like, when I looked at the Stonemaier page that had all the lists of favorite things, there were so many more things we could be
Mhm,
asking each other, but we covered a lot of stuff. And I guess we'll have to
yeah,
wait for part 3 of things that we love. And maybe, because you mentioned a live show, maybe in the future we'll do another live show. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that could be kind
yeah.
of fun too.
I would love to do another one of those as
Where
well.
the
Yeah.
people kind of carry. Jamie, thank you again for this.
Thanks,
Um,
Mitchell. Yeah,
Thank everyone for listening. And again, we look forward to seeing you, or at least seeing your comments. You can see us and hear us next week when we put our heads together for episode 28. Wow.
28. Yeah.
Of Positively Board Gaming. Thank you, my partner, Jamey Stegmaier. I appreciate you again doing this with me. I never take it for granted every week that we do this. And I'm looking forward to number 28. I'll show up.
I look forward to it too. And if anyone in the meantime has any thoughts about maybe the categories that we covered today, your favorite book or TV show or YouTube channel that you're enjoying right now, a podcast, a new game, any of those categories, I look forward to hearing in the comments. Mitchell, have a great weekend.
You too, man. See you soon.
See ya.